not destroyed. Whoa!
Hello and welcome to another YuGiOh video, and today we are taking a look at the combo that rocked the world following the LCS 5 last weekend, during which we saw Lundrity piloting Megalith to fantastic success on the Twitch stream. So kudos to Lundrity for taking this deck, which was previously very much considered a rogue deck, definitely not a meta contender, and managing some great success with it as well. So a lot of things to take into account. I think people are super unfamiliar with how the Megalith deck functions, so Lundrity took great advantage of that, and that's also in combination with the fact that the Dogmatica deck just came out. So if your opponent is playing Maximus, then that's potentially multiple free searches that you can get off with this deck. Now the most important combo for the deck relies on you having one Ophiel and one Unformed. There are various ways to get to a position like this. Once you're here, there's a fairly linear combo that gives you the absolute best board. So let's take you through that now. So we're going to kick things off by entering the wonderful main phase and using the Megalith Unformed in order to perform our first Ritual Summon from deck. We ditch the Ophiel in order to get access to the full, and then the full's effect will activate, and that will put the Ophiel back into the hand and turn itself into a level 4. So you can see we're lining ourselves up for a rank 4 play. You then ditch the Ophiel for the second Ritual Summon from deck, bring out Haggith. Haggith is easily one of the most important cards for this combo. It searches the Ritual spell, which is Megalith Unformed, and because it's not actually a Ritual spell, it's a quick play spell, it's much harder to search this than in any other Ritual deck. And then these two make your first rank 4, which is the Gallant Granite, and that can of course search for Block Dragon, which is not done being abused just yet in 2020. So here we get to use it for a Ritual Summon, and Unformed requires you to have double the level of the monster you summon from deck. So 8 goes into a 4, and that's the Haggith, and then Haggith searches for another Unformed. Then we go into a Link 2. Now it really doesn't matter what Link 2 you go for. I've gone with a Ciphering Lord Lambda because the deck plays Gamma. But you see a lot of people playing Ozza instead, which can potentially be important in the mirror match and things like that. So it's really up to you as to what you want to go for, but here I've gone for the Lambda. The Block Dragon is now live, so that can be summoned and then used for Unformed once again, and this time it brings out the Ophiel. So we can stack the chain links, put the block as chain link 1 and Ophiel as chain link 2, so we get the important searches off. That means we get an Aratron, a Researcher, a Full, and also an Ock. So this is all like gearing us up for plays during the following turn. Then we can special the Researcher, turn that Lambda into a Link Cross, get the double tokens, and then we have a Marcher play, which is actually going to lead us into a Herald that is a tuner. So this is really nice because we're actually going to use Herald for its proper effect of searching for a Ritual monster or a Ritual spell. So going into the Borreload can then equip the Lambda, get the double token, and Herald searches for Magician of Black Chaos Max, which we're going to be using during the opponent's turn to lock them out of monster effects if we have to. So we have a Fibrax play here, just going to summon a Gamma from deck. Often see people play Steeker instead, and then during the opponent's turn, Fibrax turns into Formula, draws a card, and then its second effect. This is the big play. We're going to turn all 3 of these monsters into a Red Dragon Archfiend King Calamity. So this card is super cool. So when it's synchro summoned, you can activate this effect. For the rest of this turn, your opponent could not activate cards. Also, your opponent cards your opponent controls cannot activate their effects. They don't get to respond to this, and it's a 4,500. So they're super stuck. The only thing they get to do is they get to make one play, which is before you use the effect of your Formula Synchron, because this has to be activated during the main phase. So with turn player priority, your opponent will get one move, and then after that, you make the synchro summon, you bring out the Archfiend, and then they say bye-bye. So what you should also do is actually summon the Block Dragon during your turn still, and then you can use that as an additional set of ritual fodder. There's actually easily enough Earths in the graveyard for you to do this. And then your hand is super set up. So you've got the Aratron here, which can be used for a ritual summon during your opponent's turn, but only of a Megalith monster, right? So you use this to summon your Ock, and then Ock can be used for a ritual summon of any ritual monster. So that means that you can use the Ock to summon the Chaos Max. So even if your opponent has like a Dark Rule No More to break your board before you get to summon the King Calamity, you have loads of levels on board, and you use those to summon the Chaos Max, and then your opponent is entirely locked out of monster effects. So Chaos Max says if this card is special summoned, you contribute one monster, your opponent cannot activate monster effects this turn. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can target one spell in your graveyard, add it to your hand. So the important thing is the monster effects cannot be activated there. You also have access to the full actually. So if your opponent's playing a back row deck, you can use Ok or Aratron to summon full, and then full can summon from deck the Bether. And Bether is insane in this deck because when it's ritual summoned, then you get to destroy cards your opponent controls up to the number of ritual monsters with different names in your graveyard. So you're guaranteed to have the Aratron from the earlier play, and you're most likely to have at least an Ophiel and another Haggith in the graveyard, so that's 3 pops already. If you've used the Ok, that's a 4th pop, and if you've used the full tributing itself, then that's actually a 5th pop. So you have potentially 5 pops during your opponent's turn, on top of them not being able to play the game whatsoever, and that was off 2 cards. So you have an additional 3 cards in your hand potentially, and this combo is really wild. Further to that, because you can summon back the block during your turn, when you use it for the next ritual summon, you actually get a triple search. So not only do you have the other 3 cards, you've then got an additional 3 cards off your block dragon in your hand, because you should still have another copy of like full in the deck and stuff. So very, very easy to have a massive hand during your opponent's turn. Just keep summoning stuff, popping all of their cards and locking them out of the game. So this combo is really cool. I actually saw it before the LCS because it got posted in the Megalith Duelist group. So thanks very much to all the guys who've been shouting about the deck in there, and for good reason. There's some really cool stuff that it can do. Obviously it does have certain weak points. If you Ash the Unformed, it can be really detrimental. The same can be said for Haggith. If you can just like Imperm or Veil of the Haggith, sometimes that's enough to carry you through the game. Because if they don't have enough searches, then they're going to really struggle. And keep in mind, the Unformed, as I said, is not a ritual spell, so they can't search it off Herald, they can't search it off Manju. The only way to get Unformed is to hard open it, or to search it off something like Haggith. So some really cool stuff that the deck can do, but there are a few ways that you can counter it, so keep that in mind. Congratulations to Lundrity for the 2nd place. Thanks very much for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next video.